want to talk about an issue that isn't getting any attention in the mainstream media, but actually is extremely important, and not a lot of people know what it is. I'm talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This is a secret trade agreement being negotiated between 11 of the Asian Pacific countries. It includes Australia, Brunei, Canada, Japan, Chile, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, the United States, and Vietnam, and mainly is being led by US corporations. The only reason we know anything about the TPP is that whistleblowers from inside the negotiations actually leaked the draft agreements to WikiLeaks. The people were never even meant to find out anything about it. It was supposed to be negotiated completely in secret and then signed before anyone even really took a look at what we were signing. So what exactly is the TPP? I am warning you right now that the Trans-Pacific Partnership is the greatest threat to a free market democracy we have ever had. The countries involved say the deal is designed to enhance trade and investment among the TPP partner countries, to promote innovation, economic growth and development, and to support the creation and retention of jobs. However, this is an absolute lie. There is only one true motive behind this trade deal: to increase the profits of the richest 1% of people at the expense of everyone else. This trade deal isn't even being negotiated between countries. It is actually being written by transnational corporations who are then pushing governments to sign this deal. It is being written by corporations, for the benefit of corporations and their owners, and then being signed by corrupt government officials. And this agreement is huge. It covers so many different aspects of the economy that there is no way I could talk about all of them in this video, but I'll talk about the aspects which I think are the most important. The most important aspect of the TPP is a new system called the Investor-State Dispute Mechanism. What this allows for is for corporations to sue domestic governments in offshore tribunals for any actions the government makes that affects the expected future profits of that corporation. So basically, if a government decides it wants to make a law to protect the environment, or to protect food safety standards, or anything, if that law affects the profits of any transnational corporation, under the TPP, that government can be sued. What this ultimately means is that governments become powerless to corporations, unable to enact laws which would impede these corporations, and if they do pass legislation that affects them, they are liable for massive reparations. What it also means now is that corporate profits are essentially guaranteed by the taxpayer, because if the government changes damage the potential earnings of the corporation, then they can be sued. I'll give you an example. When Australia implemented plain packaging on cigarettes to stop kids from smoking, it resulted in a huge decline in the sales of cigarettes for tobacco companies. This law was a big win for public health and a big loss for tobacco corporations. But Australia has a free trade agreement with Hong Kong, which prevents actions by government which hinder free trade. So Philip Morris, a tobacco corporation, through its subsidiary in Hong Kong, is suing the Australian government in an offshore tribunal to reclaim its lost profits. This offshore trial is still ongoing, but if the suit is successful, creates a very dangerous precedent. And that isn't the only one. Philip Morris is also suing Uruguay in an offshore tribunal for over $2 billion for the exact same health warning cigarette labels that Australia put on our own cigarettes. There is also a Swedish company in Germany called Vattenfall, who is suing the German government for over $3.7 billion in an offshore tribunal after the German people voted to phase out nuclear energy. There is a Canadian company called Lone Pine, who is suing the Canadian government in an offshore tribunal for over $250 million after Quebec passed environmental laws preventing fracking for natural gas. Cases like these are going to become extremely common if the TPP is passed. The pharmaceutical corporation Pfizer is one of the largest supporters of the TPP. The TPP will grant monopoly protections to pharmaceutical companies, preventing free market competition from new businesses. It will also extend the length of pharmaceutical patents, meaning it will take longer for patients to gain access to affordable medication, and can also remove limits on how much these companies can charge for medication. Pfizer is also extremely keen to deregulate Australia's healthcare industry and privatise Medicare in order to maximise profits of sick and dying people. The global seed conglomerate Monsanto is also seeking to deregulate the food safety standards of every country involved in the agreement. They want to put bans on GMO labelling and also allow for the importation of goods that don't meet EU or Australian food safety standards, such as chlorinated treated chicken. An example of how this would affect us is the recent Nana's berry scandal. Nana's frozen mixed berries, which were grown in China and sold in Australia, turned out to be contaminated with hepatitis A. 18 people contracted Hep A, and Coles and Woolworths immediately recalled the berries. This led to public concern about the hygiene and safety standards of Chinese-grown berries, and there was a call within Australia to introduce country of origin labelling, where the product would clearly display whereabouts the produce was grown right on the front of the packet. Now, this issue has died down and not much has happened, but there is still a push to pass these labels. However, under the TPP, these labels would be detrimental to the expected future profits of corporations who sell overseas food in Australia, and as such they would be able to sue the Australian government to reclaim any lost profits or just get the law stopped altogether. These are just some of the features of the TPP that make it a bad deal for Australia. However, there are so many others that I haven't covered here in this video that it should make anyone who is paying attention boil with rage. And this is only some of the things that we know about. As the text is still completely secret, nobody except the corporations that wrote the agreement know exactly what is in it. So there definitely could be more clauses much worse than this that we don't know about yet. The TPP ultimately is not about free trade. It's about deregulating markets, removing environmental protections, and transferring power from sovereign governments into the boardrooms of transnational corporations. If it is signed, governments will no longer have the power to protect their people from the actions of corporations. They will lose their national sovereignty, they will lose their ability to create laws that impact corporations, and ultimately they will become subservient to the global network of transnational corporations and trade tribunals. This secret trade deal is being written by the corporations, for the benefit of corporations, at the expense of people and governments. And if you think this doesn't affect you, think again. Julian Assange once said, "If you read, write, publish, think, listen, dance, sing or invent, if you farm or consume food, if you're ill now or might one day be ill, the TPP has you in its crosshairs." This trade deal ultimately will affect every aspect of our lives, and if passed, will be the end of democracy as we know it. However, there is hope. Fortunately, people know about the corruption of this unfair secret trade deal, and people are saying no. Thanks to organisations such as WikiLeaks, the public actually knows what is happening before it has been signed. Protests are occurring all over the world, in Europe, the US, in New Zealand, and in Australia. People are trying to organise and telling their politicians that they don't want this secret trade deal. They don't want corporations to be able to sue their governments. They don't want to lose national sovereignty, and they don't want to go down the path towards a one world government. If you live in Sydney and want to get involved in direct action against the TPP, leave a comment below and I'll send you the details of upcoming events, or you can join the Stop the TPP Facebook page. Please spread this information with everyone you know, and hopefully we can stop this trade deal. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this to come. And thanks for watching.